I just found a credit card statement with hotel charges from a night he was supposedly working. He told me he slept on his office floor that night, but he was an hour away in a completely different town. There was also Tinder charges on the credit card. What do you even buy on Tinder? There were 2 charges for $6.99 each. This was all on a statement of a credit card I have never seen. The statement was in the mail this morning. He paid it online already, and I bet he didn't think a paper statement would come. Where do I even go from here? He doesn't know that I know. I don't want to give him the satisfaction of seeing any emotion from me. I want him to find out when he gets served separation papers. I will be calling lawyers on Monday. The worst part is, we have a 1-year-old son. I feel so bad for him. We're also living in military housing, so I don't know how or if I can kick him out, or if I can leave and go back to my home state with my son. I have a good job here, so I don't even know if I would want to do that. I'm sorry this post is so jumbled. I'm really in shock right now. Although I suppose I shouldn't be, since he does have a history of talking inappropriately with women. I just never thought he'd do this. Any advice on how to get through the first couple of days after finding out? I feel like I'm going to throw up. Update 1. The day after I found the statement, my husband and I were alone, and I told him that I really want to make our marriage work for our son, and that if there was anything at all he wanted to tell me, then we could work through it, but he had to be honest. He looked me straight in the eye and said no. I asked him what the $400 credit card payment from his bank account was for, and he got angry and told me that I was too financially controlling. So, on Monday, I had an appointment with a divorce lawyer, but she wasn't super helpful. She told me I needed to go through base legal, and that my state is no fault, so there was no point in gathering more evidence or hiding what I had found from my husband. I wanted him to feel even 1/100th of the way I felt when I found the credit card statement, so that night when I got home, right before we were supposed to have dinner with his parents, so he had no time to respond, I whispered to him that I found the credit card statement and that I had a divorce lawyer. It was really satisfying to watch him have to sit through dinner and act normal. But when we were finally able to talk about it, he told me that I had driven him to do it, and that he never saw this being a forever thing anyway. Not sure why he married me and had a baby with me then. I guess he realized how ridiculous that was, because he completely changed his tune and said there was something wrong with him. Maybe this could be a low point for him. He'll get therapy, etc. But it's been 2 months and I haven't seen any concrete actions from him. We are still living in the same house for now, but he sleeps on the couch. I don't know. I feel really stuck. I don't want to be a single mom, but I don't want to be with him. I told him the other night that I'm not in love with him anymore, but he still acts like we're trying to make it work, and I just go along with it because it's easier. When our lease is up in May, I will have to figure something out. I kind of feel bad posting here because he wasn't having an affair, but since he's coming back from deployment in July, these are the things I know he's done. Gotten multiple messages that I can't prove had happy endings, but he got out cash for them and hid them from me, so I can only assume. He's messaged ex-girlfriends and other women asking for nudes. She was nice enough to send me a screenshot. He had a Tinder profile and was actively trying to find someone to bring back to his hotel room, but says he never found anyone. He did admit to buying condoms though. It makes me wonder what he's done that I don't know about and if he was ever faithful to me. We were long distance before he came back from deployment, so he could have been hiding things from me easily. I feel like my whole marriage is a lie. Edit. Someone mentioned rub maps to me and it made me remember this credit card charge I could never figure out. It was from RMaps Pay and nothing was coming up on Google. I now know for sure that he was paying to look up reviews for sex workers. I'm glad I made this post because I'm so disgusted now and I want him gone. Sad final update. Sad update to the finding a credit card statement in the mail story. I think this post might need a trigger warning for abortion. You can read my whole story in my profile, but TLDR, my husband was definitely on Tinder and rub maps and buying hotel rooms, but won't confess to anything else. Although I have every reason to believe he physically cheated. I found out I was pregnant after D-Day. When I told my husband, I could just see it in his eyes that he was ecstatic. I think he thought that 1, I wouldn't divorce him now, and 2, his past actions would be forgotten in the preparation for a new baby. I think I might get some hate for this, but I just couldn't do it. I ended up terminating the pregnancy at 7 weeks. He is so pissed at me. He thinks I must have cheated and gotten pregnant with another man's baby, and that's why I did it. He literally can't comprehend why I wouldn't want a baby with him. I feel so guilty. Sometimes I feel like I did the right thing, and sometimes I feel like the worst person ever. These past couple months have broken me. I hired a lawyer and got a separation worksheet, but I'm too depressed to fill it out. I even stopped working out, which used to be my favorite thing to do. The only thing that keeps me going is my 1-year-old son. Moving on to the next story. Married for 19 years before my wife cheated on me. I'll be 75 this July, and I've seen a lot of things. I wanted to share my story with the younger generation before I die, quite frankly. I have lung cancer, and I don't expect to be around much longer, so this information needs to get out there. I got married when I was 18 in 1964. It feels like I'm not even the same person anymore. I used to be in good physical shape, and now I'm stuck in a wheelchair. My wife and I both had to work full-time, since I didn't have the income to support both of us. I worked in construction, and she cleaned hotel rooms. We never had any kids, and we still had time to ourselves on the weekends. I don't think we ever argued, but this was so long ago. I'm losing details though, and we didn't have any issues getting along. Over the years, I started to make more money, and she was able to quit her job and stay at home. I would work longer nights though, and our marriage turned more into friendship, honestly. We rarely had sex, and although I still loved her, I felt like it was different. We didn't spend enough time together towards the end. I take the blame for leading us down the wrong road with my job. As you will read later on, this wasn't the only issue, but I still should have addressed the situation while I still could have. One night, I get back from work, and at first everything seems normal. Dinner was ready, and we had the TV set to baseball, my favorite back in the day. I talked to her in the kitchen for a little, and went to my room to change out of my work clothes. When I went in there, I found a box of condoms on my nightstand. I started to panic because I had a vasectomy years before this and never used condoms. I immediately asked my wife about them, and she couldn't think of an explanation in time. She started crying and came clean about the cheating. She invited her friend from work over for sex while I was out and apparently forgot to get rid of the condoms. I'm not ashamed to admit I was crying as well after hearing that. I tried to find out why she did this, and she said she just wasn't attracted to me, was lonely, and never enjoyed our sex. I didn't know what to say and ended up leaving. We got divorced after 19 years of being married. In my 40s, I was a disaster. I lost all confidence and motivation to go on. I started drinking and eventually became an alcoholic. It took me until my 60s to kick this habit. I couldn't look myself in the mirror while thinking I was a failure of a man. I wanted to date again, but I just thought the same would happen again. It never occurred to me that I was bad in bed, and I really didn't have any good answers. My skin started to wrinkle a bit, especially on the back of my legs, but I took pride in maintaining my figure for a while, and when I had sex during our marriage, I swear she enjoyed it. I kept my tough guy appearance through my 30s, and would still wear my bandana in the bedroom, which was a turn-on for her. I was generous and always did things for her when she wanted. As time went by though, I started to think about the idea that at an older age, sex wasn't too important, and about 5 years ago, I started dating again. We don't have an active sex life, but she assured me that there was nothing wrong with me. I remarried last year, which made me so happy, but unfortunately, that's when I got my cancer diagnosis. Ever since then, I've lost a lot of energy, and my new wife is the only one that keeps me going. We are trying chemo, but the future looks bleak. In my remaining days, I want to share some knowledge I've collected over the years to make the world a better place. My mental abilities are also slowly waning, so I need to do this before it's too late. I hope all reading this can learn something from me to make their life better. Let's get some reaction from the community on this one. Smacksaw starts us off. It's a shame no one told you years ago, but she used the classic manipulation technique of deflection. When someone is caught red-handed, they instead find a way to blame or diminish the empathetic person who cares. By doing so, she makes it not about her anymore. Instead of you being in the mindset to make her face her consequences, she retains power over you by making you feel like crap. I don't know if it will give you closure, but please find justice for yourself before it's too late. Best wishes to you, sir. Next up, Snaps says, "You never had kids, but you seem to have won some hearts here. We live, we love, and hopefully we learn something along the way. It sure sounds like you did all of those things. I'm sorry about your diagnosis. I hope you're able to benefit from newer treatments coming. We don't get a rule book, and it seems like we get smart about life just before it ends. You're a good man, OP. We love you, man." Next up, Superleg4911 has this to say. "Wealth and sex alone cannot keep a woman. It doesn't matter who you are and what you do. Once a woman doesn't have that freedom she wants, she starts to lose interest and, like a dog, gets bored easily looking for another option, even if it's not an option that is worth taking up. They will just take whatever and apologize later. You have to live with it, or you let them go. Either way, they are always ready to begin a new journey with some other jerk who has some money, good sex, and attention to offer. Stillaborn So rounds us out with the last comment. Your long ex-wife haunted you longer for her foul idea of love and contentment. She was a self-centered, selfish person, and you finally found someone worth spending the rest of your life with. If your ex is still alive, send a teaser of fake life insurance beneficiary paperwork notice. Even though it has been nearly 48 years since you cut that life-draining person that you mistook as loving, she stayed at home to keep using your money to buy the condoms for her affairs. She had you happily pushing yourself to please her, but she cared so little for you, she preferred to leave you working and alone, unsatisfied sexually. She obviously wasn't willing to do the same for you. Do whatever you think may give you comfort and keep fighting the illness. You may even get another 19-year marriage, but this time with a loving wife instead of just a lusting one.